Hello, hello, crafty peeps. Welcome back to my channel, Crafty-ish Kristyn. Today, I have a post review and kit down of this bun-tastic little kit. This is Luan, and this is from Diamond Art Studio, UK. This is my first kit from Diamond Art Studio, UK that I have finished. It was lovely, lovely, lovely. I very much enjoyed working on this one. The artist's name is Hafsa Idris, and if I mispronounce that, I am very, very, very sorry. This kit had 90 colors. That's right, 90. And it is a 60 by 60 square drill kit. I have been told that this is an older kit. It's not a newer one, and so I believe now they're manufacturing their own drills. Could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But even so, the drill field is very, very snug. There is no gapping on this kit. Some of the colors did have a good amount of trash, so here is my trash from the kit. Mainly the there actually was not many 310s. It was mainly the 823s, the 939s, and the 3799s were particularly trashy, but I did not run out of anything, and I have plenty left over of those colors. So even though I was picky, it was not an issue. I did not run out of any colors. Some of the colors I was a little worried about just because there's 90 colors. Some of the colors had barely any to begin with. And so you see that low amount in the container and you're thinking, am I going to run out? Am I going to run out? But I did not. So this is my trash. There could have been more. I tend to drop things, and some of it could have gotten put in a different container from a different kit, and there's probably trash from other kits in here as well. Let's see. This is what the original artwork looks like. I feel like it does reflect and translate into a diamond painting very, very nicely. It is a more traditional looking image in the sense of you can tell that there's, paint strokes in the bunny, and I feel like it does translate, like I said, into the diamond painting very, very well. Like you can see the different lines on the bunny, and even kind of in the night sky, but the background, and even with the rock and the plants and the flowers. If I had to describe this style, I would say it's kind of painterly. I don't know if that's a real word, but it is now. Yeah, so if you can tell, it came out so good. Almost just spilled my Dr. Pepper. That would have been awful. That would have been absolutely awful. I didn't have any issues besides, some of the trashy drills, which that's every kit, honestly. And the glue was nice and sticky the whole way through. Yeah, it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. And I do have another piece from this artist. Not sure when I'm going to work on that one, but I feel like Luan definitely needs a cousin or somebody to keep her company. And I do think she's a girl, just, based on the name and just the general vibe that I get from her. She has gotten lots of nose boops and will continue to get lots of nose boops as long as she is out and her nose is exposed. Let's see, this is finish number 14 for the year and number 59 total overall since I have been diamond painting. And if you are interested in getting a kit from Diamond Art Studio UK, I do have a affiliate code. You can use Crafty-ish10, and that is in the description box, as well as a link to this kit and Diamond Art Studio UK. I will get some affiliate points that I am conglomerating. That's not a word either. I'm grouping all the points together, and when I get enough for a kit, I want to do a giveaway on my channel. Let's see. Here are my drills. As you can see, 91 colors, and they are in my Elizabeth Wards in my little container stacker stadium thingy. This made working on this kit so much easier. Oh my gosh. If I would have had to try to put these in a tray, like an Elizabeth Ward tray, they would not have all fit. And I did, wow, words. Instead of, using the trays like this, I did tilt them on their side, flat side down, with the curved side up, put a little bit of washi, and put the labels. I did have to kind of curve the label around the side, but really when I'm diamond painting, all I need is this particular symbol, and that made it easy so I could see every single color all at once. So yeah, now it's time to put all these diamonds away. So let me grab my spare drills and we will throw things around and we will get started. Don't go anywhere. All right, box number 1. I will say this will go faster than the kitting up. Probably will, since there really is not much static that I have seen in these containers. Thank goodness. So how is everybody doing? What are you doing? I hope you all are doing good, awesome, well, and amazing. Yes, I do. I know summertime is different for everyone. I remember being a kid, like elementary school kid, and I was not a fan of summertime, mainly because both my parents worked and I had to go to daycare. And, I liked people. I was a kid. I liked playing with other kids, but you know how you're around the same kids all day, every day. It just gets a little tiring, especially when you have different personalities, as I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that even as adults. You go to work and you're around different people, and some people maybe you get along with better and some not so much. For me, it was 158. It wasn't that, daycare was bad. It was an in-home daycare. And it's funny thinking back now, there's no way this person was, licensed, not like how we have so many other things in place now, but, it was a lady, and she lived in a house, and she had kids of all ages. She had, a few babies, she had a bunch of toddlers, and then she would have school-age kids. And so the school-age kids, we would go to school most of the time. So she was really only there with the babies and the toddlers and stuff like that. And I never questioned it as a kid, but being an adult and being in charge of maybe 2 children, I have no idea how she did it, because it was just her. She didn't have help. It was literally just her. The fact that she was able to have babies there and toddlers, just mind-boggling, It was, there's some left in there. I'm not opening these back up. I don't even know how, it was not legal. Let's put it that way. And us older kids, when it was, Christmas break or a no school day or whatever the case may be, especially when it was nice outside, us older kids would have to go outside when the little kids took a nap because we were loud and, you know, not quiet, obviously. I just remember the summertime. I've never been a fan of heat and extreme sun because I burn. I don't tan. I just burn. And so that was not my favorite, especially on those days where the sun is sweltering and you're kind of being forced to go outside. We weren't allowed to come inside until after nap time. We could come inside to go to the bathroom, you know, but like you had to be super quiet. So yeah, not my favorite. I remember it was, I think it was the summer I was in 5th grade, and my dad had I think he had back surgery. And so he had to take off, I think 2 months from work. He had a slip disc, or I don't fully remember. You know, I was a kid, I was selfish. I didn't pay attention to what was going on with other people. And I remember he had to have his back surgery, and I don't remember how exactly it came to be told to me, but I didn't have to go to daycare because my dad was going to be home because he had to be home from the back surgery. I was like, what? I don't have to go? I was so excited, you know, because I got to, and when I went to daycare, I had to get up. You know, it was like going to school, but you still had to get up and get dressed and grab all your junk and stuff. And so I was so excited. I got to sleep in. I wasn't forced to go outside in the 90-degree weather, and I wasn't, you know, forced to play games, and just, oh, it was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. Yeah. That was probably one of my favorite summers as an elementary student, because I got to, you know, hang out with my friends during the day that lived on my street, because, you know, before I wouldn't be able to go hang out with the neighborhood kids until, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock when I got home. It was amazing. And then, of course, you know, after that, I was in middle school, and, you know, you can be trusted to stay home alone at that point. So I never did have to go back to daycare ever again. Oh. I'm sure my mom and dad appreciated that too, because while it wasn't super, compared to today's standards, it was not super expensive. I mean, you are still paying another human being to be responsible for your child. I cannot even imagine paying for childcare right now. My gosh. I don't know how much it is in our area, but everything is so freaking expensive in our area. So it would not surprise me that it would be almost like a mortgage payment, but for childcare. That's kind of when, you know, my husband and I decided we were going to have kids. You know, we kind of had the question of, okay, what are we going to do? Because, you know, the job I did, I would basically be paying to send my kids to daycare. I'd be working so my kids could go to daycare. And I was like, well, that seems, you know, kind of silly, because I didn't have health insurance or anything like that. So we decided, well, I guess, you know, I will stay home and we'll just, you know, try to be responsible with money, which easier said than done. Because children are expensive. $5.19. So, yeah, I don't think my kids realize how good they have it. They get to sleep in. They're not being forced to, you know, go and, well, I mean, I do force them to go and do some things, but still. 20. I had to take the teenager to the mall yesterday. I had some returns, and I said, well, let's just do some school shopping while we're there, and then we don't have to go back. Because first he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. I was like, but if we go, then we're done. And he said, oh, okay, yeah. So he went with me. I returned my stuff and picked out a few t-shirts and, you know, I mean, a lot of stuff I can do online. But shoe shopping, it's not as easy online without having to do some potential returns. So there was a shoe store, Journey's right next door. Went in. We went in and I was like, you know, the girl was like, you know, are you looking for something specific? And, you know, I said, yeah, he needs, you know, shoes for school. And there was a few, I think they were like New Balance shoes and they were kind of retro looking. And I was like, what about those? And he said, oh yeah, those are kind of okay. And so she grabbed a few pairs from the back in his size. They didn't have the one color he wanted, but they had a different one. He's like, oh, I kind of like those. Tries them on. He goes, yeah, those feel okay. He's like, yep, okay, good, we're done. I was like, what? Just, that's it. No looking around. No, just I'm done. You know, my husband's like, yeah, he's my son. Because my husband is not a fan of lingering in a store. You go in, you get what you need, and you're done. So he did, oh my gosh, but there's a cat cafe at the mall. And it's not like a cool cat cafe like, you know, you see on these YouTube videos in Japan. No. It's very small and it's all windows. So everybody walking by in the mall will stare inside and look at you petting the cats. Just no. I said, we have a cat cafe at home. We have 2 cats. And that's not going to cost me $30 to walk in. He's like, please, can we go in? I was like, no, sorry. I'm going to be mean today. I'm just going to say no. It was, oh, that's the wrong one. I didn't even look at the right color. Plus, they have a lot of rules, which is good. It's to protect the cats. But I think my husband and Sassy Lassie went, and he said, you know, you basically have to sit there. You either have to sit on the floor or you have to sit in one of these chairs that they have. And, you know, the cats have to come to you. You cannot pick the cats up. They have to choose you, which again is great for the cats. But when you pay $30 and you barely get to touch any kittens, you know, kind of makes you feel like maybe it's not worth it. So I vetoed that. I'm so mean. I'm so mean. It's fine. It is interesting to see mall shop turnover. And this is technically an outlet mall, but not everything is an outlet shop. Very confusing, but it's okay. I would not want to have to go there and do all of my clothing shopping because I feel like I would just be disappointed in the selection and variety. You know, so many of the stores have such cheap clothes. You know, you can just tell by the feel of them that they're very, very polyester and probably won't wear very well. You know, I'm fine paying more for clothes if they're not going to disintegrate the first time I wash them. If they're going to fall apart, then no, I don't really want to spend the money on them. I know. Crazy sauce. My husband and I actually watched a movie the other day, and we watched Groundhog Day, and we hadn't watched it in a few years. And I remember watching that movie. I remember watching that movie and thinking, to myself when I first saw it, right? Like, wow, that would be kind of fun. You know, you could redo the same day and you could learn things and you could learn skills and you could do all this. I didn't really grasp how dark that movie is. You know, because they never tell you how long he's, you know, stuck in the same loop of the same day over and over. As I'm just like, yeah, but he learned how to do this and he learned how to do this. And then the older you get, you're kind of watching it and going, huh, yeah, that might not be very fun after all. That would definitely be depressing to be stuck in the same day over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Because we were watching it and I said, like I tend to overanalyze things. And I was like, how long do you think it's been at this time? This time in the movie? Like how many days? How many months? Has it been years? You know, does he keep track? I have no idea. So you're just kind of left with a vague idea that it's been a while. Because like he learned how to ice sculpture and he learned how to play the piano and he learned like all these things and you know he's learning all the things about all the different people in the town and it just, yeah, like I said, my brain was over analyzing it. Because then on the last day, you know, he does all these things like, you know, he's, you know, oh, he saved my son, and, you know, he's playing this, and he's doing this, and he's doing this, and I was like, logistically, how could he do all those things on that last day? You know what I mean? There's got to be some overlap. I don't know. And that's when my husband goes, it's a movie. I'm like, I understand, but still, the math ain't mathin'. 796. I don't know. I don't think, now as an adult, I don't think I would want to be stuck in a time loop with the same day over and over and over again. Although I did like the part where he kidnaps the groundhog and lets the groundhog drive the car. That was funny. Let Phil the groundhog take the truck for a little joyride, if you will. $7.99. I don't even remember when that movie came out. I don't know how old I was, but yeah, probably was not mature enough to fully grasp that. And I don't even think I realized maybe the significance of it. Like well, that is not the right number, Kristyn. My gosh. Until I think we watched like a YouTube video about the dark underbelly of Groundhog Day or something like that, and how, you know, it was much darker than a lot of people gave it originally credit for, which I didn't. I was thinking it was, you know, sweet and funny, and then you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, no, he tried to off himself a bunch of times. That's not healthy. Not at all. My gosh, the round kit I'm working on, the Orloa, has so many 819s. I'm going to have hopefully a bunch of round 819s when I'm done with that one. Because my rounds are not very prolific. Oh, and I do have information in the description box about my spare drill storage. It is basically the photo boxes with little foam core dividers that my awesome husband made for me, with the bags and the stickers and all the stuffages. Yep. it works for me. I've seen people who have Elizabeth Ward containers or bottle cases with their spares in it, you know, and if that works, that's awesome. For me, you know, I know there's colors that you're going to have more of, like 823, for example. I have lots of this. And so I didn't know if the bottles or the Elizabeth Wards would work for me. And just, I like the flexibility of, if I need to add another box, I can add another box. Ooh, I don't have 827. Nice. And some people have, you know, set drawers with the foam things in them. I needed something portable. So, and that is why I like this system. There were a few colors in this kit, now that I'm thinking about it, that the symbols were similar, where I did kind of have to pay maybe a little more attention, but nothing that was, you know, pulling your hair out bad, if that makes sense. And I did like the fact that the symbols are printed. Some of them are printed with, you know, yellow. So for example, you know, this is navy blue with yellow, or green with a red symbol. I did like that because it helps your brain kind of distinguish between that symbol and another one. I keep getting Facebook pictures, I guess, if you will, you know, like it'll recommend a page or something. And I keep getting these vintage toy things like, oh, do you remember blah, blah, blah toys? It's like, of course I do. I was born in the 80s. Of course I remember those. I would be embarrassed if I didn't remember those. But one that really kind of caught my attention was they were showing some of the old McDonald's toys. And I was definitely a fan of the McDonald's Happy Meals, mainly for the toys. During the summertime, when I had to go to daycare, my mom would pick me up on Fridays would be kind of a, you know, find your own type. My mom would basically say, I'm not cooking, so it's make something for yourself. And so when she picked me up, sometimes she would have a Happy Meal on the seat for me, or we would stop on Fridays. And so I remember, you know, when they would get they would be, like, I remember that used to be a new toy every week. And so it would be a different one, you know, like, oh, this week it's, you know, this or whatever. And now it's not really like that, I feel like. But it was, I loved it during the holidays and stuff, because they would have, does anybody else remember, like, they would have Christmas ornaments? I have some Oliver and Company ornaments, Christmas ornaments that they had. And maybe it wasn't Happy Meal. Maybe it was like a special. I don't really remember, but I have the Oliver and Company ornaments, and they're like the little stuffed characters. And I also have, I don't know if it's I think it might have been Cinderella. There was some Cinderella ones. There was some other one, I just remember. And those ones are cool because then, oh, Fievel. I think I had Fievel. Yeah. And I am kicking myself because my teenager, he loves Garfield. He's loved Garfield since he was a toddler. And that came to be because him and my husband used to love going to the thrift store and looking at all the random stuff. And because my son, he loved books from day one. And so he would always get him, you know, like they always go by the book section, and he loved the Garfield comic books. And so he's always been a fan of Garfield. And I wish I would have kept the Garfield glass mugs. I had probably all of them, and I'm so mad at myself for not keeping those, because now we go to the antique store and one Garfield mug is like $30, and I'm like, nah, nope. It's like, it's not worth that much. It just would be cool to have, but not cool enough to spend that much money on one. I remember we had a whole drawer in the kitchen. You know, if we got a duplicate toy or something, we would just keep it in the bag and put it in the drawer. Yeah. Sometimes I wish we would have actually kept those, because some of them may have been worth money. I don't know. It's hard because someone goes, oh, you'd make a fortune. Would you, though? Would you really make a fortune? I don't know. I know I had all the Fraggle Rock cars. You know, they would have the Disney things and just all the things. I did not like the Barbie Hot Wheel time. You know, there'd be the Barbie and Hot Wheels. Those were never cool. They just never were, I don't know. They just weren't as magical as some of the other toys. I mean, it's a freaking toy that comes in a fast food meal. It's not magical, but it, you know, to a kid, it is. It's magical, right? $9.95. Nope. Next box. $9.95. Okay. Now I feel like the toys are just kind of But then again, I'm an adult, so I see them as something that's just going to clutter everything up. $9.96. I had a phone call with the insurance company. Teenager had to get a night guard, January, and I thought it had all been taken care of, but I got a call from the doctor's office, and they said, yeah, they're not paying it. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And she said, no, they keep denying it. So finally I called my insurance and I said, hello, beg pardon, could you please pay this bill? You know, because $1,200 is not what I want to pay for a piece of plastic that goes in his mouth at night that he complains about wearing. And the lady I talked to was absolutely awesome. You know, usually it's the other way around where you're overly frustrated and you want to pull your hair out after you talk to the insurance company. No, she was great. You know, she looked into it and she's like, I'm going to call the doctor's office. Hang on. And so she put me on hold. She called the doctor. She came back on and said, you know, I'm still talking. I'm still here. I'm like, okay. And basically, something didn't get filled out properly. And so then the doctor's office was supposed to finish filling something out. Somebody had started, but then they stopped. And then no one else picked up the form and finished it. So the insurance company had to have them fill out some stuff, send it in. You know, she said, I'll call you back, 1 to 2 days just to tell you, the status update. And my brain, I'm thinking, she's not going to call me back. I'm going to have to call them back in a week. Nope. She called me back today and she said, this is what we've been working on. They needed another form, so we're sending it over, and I'm talking with the office person, all the stuff, and I'll let you know. Hopefully this is all they need to do, and that's that. I was shocked that she called back. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. And so of course there was a thing after you hang up, and they're saying, oh, would you like to share, answer a quick survey? And usually, no, I don't want to, but I did. And there were 2 questions, and it was so random because first one was, you know, how likely are you to recommend, you know, blah, blah, blah insurance from 0 to 10. And they want you to put in the number, like push the buttons, you know, 0 being not at all and 10 being, you know, absolutely. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll say 10, right? 10. And then the next question was, you know, how was your service? How would you recommend, you know, the person that helped you, you know, with how satisfied were you, basically, you know, from a scale of 1 to 4. I was like, 1 to 4, you know, 1 being no, fail, blah, 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 and 4 being yes, I want to throw them a parade. But I thought it was so weird that why wouldn't you have them both be either 0 to 10 or both 1 to 4? Very, very confusing. And I was like, okay. So I said she was a 4, but just was very kind of, I don't know. It's like, that's not very consistent. That seems like it could confuse some people. Like, wait a sec, I just did 1 to 10 and now it's 1 to 4. But that would be me trying to overanalyze things again. So what do I should really not do that. Okay. Look at this. Okay, don't lose my, okay, where did I end up? 3721. Part of me is thinking, oh, there's only a few of some of these. You shouldn't keep them. But what if that's the one that I need someday and I don't have any of, and I just need like 4 drills? You know, those 4 drills could prevent me from having to wait to get replacement drills. $3,722. Okay. Oh my gosh. So, I don't understand why people who make coffee tumblers, oh, see, but like, okay, 370. Now I'm going to do the thing I didn't do earlier, and I'm going to, those ones were caught under the little thing. Okay. Just ignore, I didn't do that. I just cleaned all of my mom's coffee tumblers. Why is it? They make it so difficult to properly clean the lids and the seals and all the different parts, right? Because yes, we want them to not spill. That is very important when you are taking something in a moving vehicle or you just don't want to spill on yourself. But why is it is so hard to get the little, first of all, the fact that you have to take the little plastic thing around the edge off and take this other thing off and do all this just to properly clean it is frustrating. Because, I mean, let's be real, most of us don't clean those every time we use them. And, you know, my mom drinks a lot of coffee and she uses those cups because, you know, if you bump it on the table or something, then you don't really want to spill. So I'm taking apart all these lids. She's probably got, I don't know, 6, 7 lids. And it's gross because they don't look like they're, you know, dirty, but they are. You know, they're growing weird things. And so then you got to take it apart. And then if you rip the little plastic thingy, then you got to get a replacement one. Because you don't just want to go out and have to buy all new travel mugs every time you need to replace something. You know, that's kind of wasteful. I don't understand why they can't make a travel coffee mug that is easy to clean, you know, without it having parts that are going to harbor bacteria and mold and who knows what. Just no thank you. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, and if somebody, you know, can't even get, I mean, because it took me some time. I had like one of those bamboo skewers that you might, you know, cook something with, you know, like you poke stuff and you cook it on the barbecue or something. I was trying to get that and try to get the little thing off of it, and it was so freaking hard. I can't even imagine. You know, people, if they don't have good hand strength or maybe good hand-eye coordination, or somebody like my mom who can't really see super well, you know, there's got to be something out there that is spill proof but yet easily cleanable. Ah! 3799. And there we go. Look at that. Oh, that one's really full. Some of these probably need a second bag, but oops. Oh my gosh. That is not a right now thing though. No. Don't get all over my cute little face. No, thank you. Ah! No, thank you. No, thank you. And I was going to look during Prime Days, and I totally forgot, which is my bad. You know, I have no one to blame but myself for that. 3807. 3807. Yes. The problem is sometimes too, you don't know how easy it's going to be to clean until you physically buy it, because you can look at pictures all you want on the internet, but that don't mean anything. Oh my gosh, another thing we debated on buying on Prime Day and we didn't, and now I'm kind of regretting it. We were going to get some new Ring cameras because ours are very old. They're not the most reliable. So I was thinking, well, my husband's like, well, he put them in the cart. And I was like, well, I don't know. Just, and so we didn't get them. Probably should have. But my thinking was, well, maybe we should just get a whole new security system, because we have this one company. And the problem is our garage is not attached to the house. It's right next to the house, but it's not attached. Well, it's just far enough away so the door and the window sensors don't really work properly with the internet. So half the time they don't connect. And the camera that we tried to put in the garage definitely did not work. And so we were thinking maybe we should try to find a different security system, because, you know, maybe now things are better after, you know, a certain amount of years, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, you look for security systems, and unless you know somebody who has it, you have no idea if they're good or not. And I had mentioned, well, I was watching, you know, I was watching YouTube, and all these people recommend Simply Safe. So maybe we should try Simply Safe. And my husband's like, I don't know if I want to try, you know, YouTube sponsored, come on, you know, security systems, right? Because as much as you want to believe the people that are saying they recommend it, you know, actually do recommend it, it is a sponsored post. And I said, well, yeah, but I mean, it's a security system. And he looked at me and he goes, how'd those Raycon earbuds work out for you? And then I stopped talking. I said, yeah, okay. That's a proper argument right there, because I was convinced, right? I was convinced. Everybody recommends those Raycon earbuds. They're magical. You can work out, you can run, you can do everything with them, and they stay in your ears and they sound amazing. And the ones I bought were not amazing. They did not stay in my ears. And every time they turned off, I had to reconnect them to the devices, which, you know, is kind of annoying. Also, they did not sound good. They sounded like garbage. And maybe there was something wrong with the set that I bought, but I did kind of feel like all of those YouTube sponsored posts lied to me. Because I was like, oh, my Raycon earbuds, oh my gosh, yes, they're so much cheaper than AirPods and blah, blah, blah. Or earbuds or whatever they call them. I remember. And yeah, I was not happy with them at all. I could not get them to stay in my ears to save my life, even though they had the different sized thingies, you know, the little ear silicone thingy-mabobbers. You know, they would not stay in. They would not stay connected. So I did return those to Amazon. I said, no, thank you. Sorry. I will just get myself another pair of Apple ones because those are the only ones that fit seemingly into my tiny ears. 3844. Look at that. We're getting close. Yippity skippity. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, get out of there. See, it's amazing how one little drill can just get stuck under the hinge. Are you? Yes, you are sealed. Good job. I would love to know. Has anyone else been suckered into buying something that they saw a sponsored post for, and did you like it? Did it work? I mean, I'm telling you right now, if I lived alone or I was going to be alone for a week or so, I would totally try one of those factor meals or something so I didn't have to cook. You know, I don't know how expensive it actually is. But if you didn't have to buy ingredients for the meals, it could be a good deal depending on, you know, your situation. Again, I don't know, but I have seen a factor truck driving around the general area before, so I think they would deliver to my house. But something about, I don't know, something about a refrigerated meal, you know, like a nice chicken breast that's cold and then you have to heat it up. I don't know, man. Would that smell just be a little too gaggy? Maybe. I don't know. The chances of me ever trying it are probably pretty slim. Yeah. All right, Luan is almost done. 3862. Come on, there we go. I'll say most of these drills have been pretty consistent in color. Maybe not this one that I just did. Yeah, not that one. It's okay. It's fine. That's why they're called spare drills, because they're extras, just in case. 3860. I did not put that in order very well. That's all right. I noticed some of my Elizabeth wards are a little bit looser than others. Some of these I would be a little scared to drop on the ground. I would worry they would fall open. 3861. And there was only one special drill in this kit. It was a white AB. I feel like I potentially could have gone through and maybe added in some extra ABs near the mushrooms or flowers, but the first time I work on a kit from a company I've never done, I try not to do any, you know, crazy. Okay, seriously, what is going on back here? I try not to change anything. So I can say, hey, yep, this is how it was, and you know, all that jazz. And it could look good with maybe fairy dusts as well. I don't know. All right, there is that, and then we need the special. Okay, special drills. The ABs are where are the ABs? This is come on. You can find the ABs. 3/8. Here we go. Right here. 5,200. Put those in there. And there is that. Uh-oh, I didn't put, it's right there. All right, this is not the most organized. It's okay though. It works for what I need it to do. So, all right. All right. Containers are empty except for the trash, which I will do after the fact. Luan is all kitted down, and now I can go work on something else. Yeah. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. If you have not, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, hearting, farting, doing all the things. And I will see you again very, very soon. Big awkward hugs. Bye, guys. Boop. Krabby Patties. I didn't put them in DMC order. Somebody dropped the ball. But it was me. Okay, let's try this again. Shall we? Oh my goodness, I am such a professional. Okay, excuse me, Luan. Excuse me, friend. You need to go over here. I know, you're so cute. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, this is gonna take forever. Cut that part out. Edit that part out because you just showed your address. Ow. Ow. Dr. Pepper time? Boop. Good job. Good job, friend. Good job.